Okay, so welcome everybody to the fifth installment of the TRANS-SAHARA Expert Talks Series with Professor Yuji Hara from Wakayama University and Professor Daphne Gondolacker, who is moderating today. Thank you everybody for joining. In a couple of minutes, we're just going to have about a 45-minute chat from Professor Hara, and I think then about 20 of Q&A, so feel free to jump in, think of questions over the course of the chat, and after Professor Hara has finished presenting, we'll turn on everyone's microphone so you can jump in, and hopefully we'll have an engaging conversation. But just to introduce our two presenters today, so Dr. Yuji Hara is an associate professor at the Faculty of Systems Engineering at Wakayama University in Japan. He earned his PhD in landscape planning from the University of Tokyo in 2007, following his studies in geography and landscape planning. Dr. Hara's research focuses on landscape planning and anthropogenic geomorphology, with an extensive fieldwork across Japan, Southeast Asia, the Netherlands, and the New York region. His work explores the use of indicator species, including mammals, frogs, dragonflies, the Japanese pond turtle, and the Asian open-bill stork, to assess the ecological and cultural value of rice-based urban rural landscapes and their ecosystem services. He is also actively engaged in initiatives related to the FAO's globally important agricultural heritage systems, contributing to the conservation and sustainable management of traditional agricultural landscapes around the world. And Dr. Daphne Gondolacker, who is kindly agreed to moderate today, is a professor at the chair of Urban Water Systems Engineering in the School of Engineering and Design at the Technical University of Munich in Germany. Her research focuses on integrated urban planning, the water, energy, food, ecosystems nexus, and multi-stakeholder participatory co-creation processes in Africa and Asia. She holds a PhD in ecosystem studies from the University of Tokyo and a master's and bachelor's in architecture and urban planning. Prior to joining Technical University of Munich, she worked as a postdoctoral associate at the Department of Urban Studies and Planning at the Massachusetts Institute of Technology in the States and the Center for Developmental Research at the University of Bonn in Germany. So delighted to welcome the two of them today. And yeah, without further ado, I'll slide the microphone over to you, Professor Hara, and you can begin whenever you're ready.
Excuse me, but may I also add some warm words of welcome for Professor Hara as well? Thank you very much, Leah. So thank you very much, Professor Hara, for joining us today. I want to especially warmly welcome you because we have a long history going back. So when I was doing my PhD studies at the chair of landscape ecology with Professor Takeuchi, and Professor Hara was then my tutor. So the big part of the approach that we have in TRANS-SAHARA is based on the thinking that he helped me to develop at that time, by giving me active feedback and also criticisms, and also debating about how to develop an integrated approach. So he's not just an expert for landscape ecology, but taking an integrated approach also in the urban and regional context, which remains quite a rare speciality. So I'm really happy to have you here today, and we look forward to hearing about your presentation. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your introduction, and I'm very happy to give this talk, and I really appreciate the management's efforts of this expert talk series. I'm Yuji Hara from Japan, Wakayama University, which is located in just the central part of Japan, which is near to the Osaka, second largest city in Japan. And today, I would like to focus on several of my projects related to agricultural heritage system, particularly in my hometown, Wakayama, because I've been involved in some kind of application process of this globally important agricultural heritage system initiated by FAO, the United Nations, these days. So let me show you some visual image of our site, as well as some of examples from Africa. Let me proceed next slide. So perhaps you might know something about GIAS. It's called Globally Important Agricultural Heritage Systems. This is their definition by FAO, United Nations. Remarkable land use systems and landscape which are rich in globally significant biological diversity evolving from eco-adaptation of a community with its environment and its needs and aspiration for sustainable development. Little bit a very formal definition, but for this FAO started this project since 2002, then already more than 20 years. Then they try to select this kind of very long historical traditional agricultural system across the world. Then they set up some criteria for GR selections. First is food and livelihood security, and second, agrobiodiversity, and third, local and traditional knowledge system. Then fourth, cultures, values systems, and social organizations. And finally, they also focus on landscape and seascape features. So in the selection process, they evaluate the proposal submitted, and then based on these 5 criteria. So in my impression, example, 15 years ago, when I was involved in the first time to apply this GIS, at that time, it's not so strict in terms of proposal evaluation because that time it's not so many GIS sites. But these days, along with the increase of number of GIS sites, that the evaluations scheme is a little bit becomes strict. So you have to prepare a very scientific proposal with some scientific evidence of these kind of 5 criteria. So right now it's a little bit becoming a little bit difficult to make some DS application due to increase of number of the site across the world. This is just little bit belated information. It's in 2018, but now just this summer they celebrate of this DS sites in number becomes more than just 100. Now they have 102 sites across the world. And you could see many of GIS sites. It's just situated particularly in Asian countries, but also in Europe, they have some site and Africa as well. And FAO really want to expand these GIS schemes, particularly to Africa as well as the another continent like America. But initially, this selected site is mostly located on the Asian countries, which have some history of the agriculture development. But now they really want to expand this scheme to Africa as well. So maybe this Trans-Sahara project have some link to this scheme as well, I think. There, from our website, you can see that the current situation of agricultural heritage systems. They are celebrating that this summer. Really happy because the number of sites is just over 100. So along with their efforts to expand this scheme, a lot of applicants now it's coming. Then their criteria and application and evaluation process is become a little more and more formalized, and then also it becomes like a little bit strict too, because of there are a lot of candidates. So I heard it. Now you have to prepare a very strict application form with a lot of scientific evidence to support your site's sustainability in terms of agricultural development as well. So then I will show you some visual image of the example of some other Japanese sites. This is one of the early recognized site, which is just the central part, but it's a little bit north part of Japan, facing Japan Sea. This is Noto area, which is you could see this kind of very intensive cultivated terrace rice fields here. This was recognized in 2011, which is one of the first sites of GIS in Japan. You could see some landscape, and then also this area still manage that rice farming with some help from the people from another area like big cities. They invite citizens here, and then together they are continuing this kind of rice farming here. The another site is this is Sado Islands, located just also nearby Noto site. It's central part of Japan, and they have some symbol species. This is just Japanese priested ibis, which is actually this was extinct in almost 15 or 100 years ago. But after that, the local government and the national government put a lot of effort to reintroduce this very beautiful birds in these Sado areas. First, they lent that bird from the China and the Russian, then try to reintroduce in this area just as a symbol of the agricultural landscape, and also, you know, when you select the symbolic species for revitalizing some rural areas, I think it's better to select some cute birds or cute animals indeed. Perhaps some have a lot of very rare species, including insects, and then there's some fishes, but this kind of big birds is quite having a very big symbolic meanings, and which is popular among the people, local people, as well as some kind of international audiences. Then they select these birds to redevelop their agricultural heritage systems, and then get the GIS recognition here. Then after that, they could get some actual economic profits. For example, the right side photo is the rice sold in the Sado Island with some kind of that label of these birds. Then they could get some a little bit higher price in this kind of rice. So GS scheme itself it doesn't mean you can get a lot of money from United Nations. There is no subsidized scheme, but if once get this GS scheme, you could develop some kind of additional values to their products, and which is quite important to revitalize the local area, and then also which can promote like agrotourism and another kind of economical activities in this region. So GS is just a symbolic geographical location identification based system. But I mean, along the application process, that people could have a lot of talks about how to develop our area in ahead. So this kind of communication among the local people, and also involving a lot of other sectors like national government and local government could help this area to revitalize actually using this DS criteria. And this is what I joined. Actually, they have the local government started new ordinances which connect directly between that biodiversity and some kind of monetary subsidies in agricultural sectors. Now this photo shows that just trying to monitor that some kind of insect and other species which is suitable in this kind of rice fields area. And they already set up some target species. Then, for example, if this species could find in this field, this rice field, this owner could get some kind of subsidies. Also, this is just like a directory payment to the biodiversity and that farmers who manage this kind of rice fields areas with very in sustainable way. Of course, it's biodiversity monitoring is very hard job, but they have some kind of involvement of also the local schools and another sectors. Then now they are really try to continue and in a sustainable way of this kind of monitoring activities with just have a fun. But it's very tough. I actually joined this kind of activities. Then this is the site which I directly involved in since the application process. My university is this rural local university located in this Wakayama prefecture. So now national university, particularly located in rural area in Japan, it's highly pushed by some national government and public audiences to contribute that local issues. So that's why it's one of the reasons to why Wakayama University is having a long collaboration history with the local stakeholders, particularly in the process of this kind of application of some schemes, including represented by JAS. Then site looks like hugely different from African rangeland, but you could see we have a lot of precipitation here, and average temperature is quite high. Then these days I personally feel very directly global warming trends because we have very shorter autumn these days. Even October, we have faced more than 30 degrees Celsius. Then now it's suddenly looks like becoming winter. Then it's really even this 20 years that actually autumn becomes it's like vanishing actually. But anyway, let me proceed next one. Yeah, this is the geologic features. This kind of map I made and then which is integrated in the application proposals. So it's kind of mapping technology and also another type of ecosystem studies is one of the most important evidence which should be included in the application forms. So maybe that's why it's very important to collaborate with some research institution and also local people. Then we emphasize this ume. It's the Japanese apricot, which is originally, of course, came from China, but we did cultivate this ume products ume fruits in this area for more than 400 or 500 years. And if you're somehow familiar with Japanese food, this is just a very popular side dish of our rice-based meal, which is very sour and actually, it's honestly speaking, I didn't like this umeboshi fruits, ume pickles, very much before this JS application. But I taste a lot of, had to taste a lot of ume fruits here, then because I'm one of the advisor of this application. Then I taste a lot of ume. Then now I could say it's my one of favorite side dish. But anyway, point here, what we emphasize here is this ume fruit is very productive, and then also it has a long different type of processing uh, process of like pickling, sun drying, this kind of different type of stage of making ume pickles, creating some sustainable jobs for local peoples, including farmers and also some other students. So that's why this one is very suited to the JS criteria. One of the JS criteria which emphasize the food security and food safety is guaranteed in this area. This is just I'm showing you just visual image. It's kind of very steep, hilly area facing Pacific Oceans. This is my drone pictures of the site. You could see a lot of very steep slope. But another side, you could see some very flat area which could be developed by cut field development, a large scale agricultural pilot farms here. Then you can see also that kind of blue seeds, which is for collecting the ume fruits by just gravity, just drop into the ground. Then because they have slope, then because of the gravity, that ume fruits automatically collected into one side of this kind of blue seeds. Then this is that one of the biggest artificial ume orchards in front. And in the behind, you could see a traditional type of slope ume orchard system. So let's see. Actually, the point of GIS is they accept some level of modern technology. For example, this blue seed was actually criticized by FAO evaluators because it's too vivid and which is looks like not traditional color in this area. But we applicant explained because of this color that farmer can get easily distinguish that the fruits when they harvest. So this kind of modern technology could be accepted by the FAO for in this application process if you can explain scientifically, and also that evaluator really worried about this kind of big scale cut field development looks like destroying their traditional original landforms, unlike the traditional slope ume orchard behind. However, we can explain why we need this kind of big land transformation as well, because it becomes the basement of their productions, and which is very flat land because of its flatness. That local farmers could efficiently get a product. So that kind of scientific explanation could be accepted by FAO. So GIS scheme itself could accept again that modern technology and modern way of agriculture, if the balance between tradition and modern and machinery based agriculture is just harmonized in this area, they call the dynamic conservation. This is a blue sheet criticized by evaluators, but they finally accept because of our scientific explanation of the efficiency of the harvest. And this is the farmer is just drying up the ume fruits. Then this ume becomes just pickles with salt and other type of processing. And one of the very difficult and important criteria of GIS is biodiversity, which is actually, local people. What is the aim and interest of local people to GIS is they want to increase their income, so they want to have a better life. This is, they are not so interested in the biodiversity actually. This is many case maybe they face when they apply the DS, but this kind of local people's will just want to have a better price and a better life, which is not which should be consistent with the biodiversity conservation. So that's why we, just like us, the local university, the local research institutions should play a role to evaluate this kind of biodiversity provided by that traditional and modern type of agricultural heritage system in this area. That is one of the key roles, I think, of that university and research institutions. Then this is the just autumn season. Could see a lot of different type of trees. And this is flowering season of ume orchard. Could see a lot of beautiful flowers with white color. It's not, of course, in Japan we have very famous sakura trees, cherry blossoms, but this one is ume flower is just coming out on the February, which is still winter, but this is very early blooming flower species. Then, because of this flowering on February is actually really helpful to for example, Japanese honeybees, one of the important pollinator of the ume trees. Because this is still winter, another type of vegetation and flowers could not be found in this area. So that Japanese honeybee is really rely on that flowering of ume trees. And these pictures, the image is what we submitted to FAO. Then we emphasize on honeybees because at that time there is a lot of honeybee issues worldwide. So we insisted that this area have a long-standing co-evolution between people and honeybee and also ume trees and etc. Then we could monitor several different type of species like this. Then we have our schematic, our model of our land use system. We have the forest ridge on the ridge, and then slope we have ume trees. Then the downstream we have some hamlets here. And this is what we submitted the FAO. Then we also emphasize when our application, we emphasize how this area could contribute to Japan's ume production. Then it's highly very profitable fruits. Then food and livelihood security could be guaranteed because of this fruits, something like that. Then we also have to write about the traditional techniques like this and pruning and cutting and some other processing techniques. And then we have some monitor and interview with local farmers like this, and then make some proposals. Then also we do have some soil survey there. Then also we try to integrate another type of sector, the forestry sector, because on the ridge they have forest. That's its coppice forest, which could be for making charcoal, Japanese traditional charcoals. This is charcoal makers, and actually this charcoal is just not for saving the culture, but still active in terms of livelihood. Because his products, for example, is he can sell his products to, for example, the very expensive restaurant in Tokyo and Kyoto, which emphasize on some kind of Japanese dish with their traditional charcoal. So he has very good sales channels, and this charcoal's quality is quite high. So his life is actually active and done by this kind of charcoal making, which is not just like a saving culture a demonstration. This is just a livelihood. So we try to integrate this kind of forestry and charcoal making into our GIS application land use system. Then we also investigate their way to make a sustainable forest for making these charcoals. Also emphasize some traditional dance and festivals, which is some evidence of how this rural area is still active in terms of the communication among peoples. Yes, as I told you already, local people just interested in that economic growth and income growth and better life by GIS application. But GIS requested that biodiversity evidence. So that's why we researchers have to support in this aspect. So this is a final presentation in application process and the domestic final presentation. Then after that, our governor, it goes to Rome and then gave final presentation in 2011. No, 2015, I guess. Then this is timeline of the GIS application, which is started 2014 around. Then it takes maybe 1 or 2 years to make that proposal actually with some scientific additional research to as evidence to support this sustainable land system. And this is what already I published the paper, but this is the stakeholder network along with the application process. And then this application, GIS application, is started from actually local politician. Then this politician asked the governor to push the governor to apply this FAO-GIS. Then the governor directly order some make a task force team in the government, just the Wakayama prefectural office. Then these task force teams is just recruit us and also the research universities as well as some local people. They could find some key person in the local area, particularly that young active generation, young farmers who can speak, for example, English, just for accepting the FAO evaluators. Maybe in any region, they have some key person and they have some stakeholder networks, even I think in Africa as well. So if you try to apply the DIAS, important thing is just to maximize the existing resources, human resources and networks, then find out the key persons, find out that research institutions who can help that scientific evidence, then make the total scheme and total networks. In my experience, along with this kind of making that stakeholder network along with the application process, we have a lot of discussions and then communication with local peoples, the farmers and different sectors. Then this kind of communication could really help to make a better and the best proposal actually. So I think other areas of GIS is just the same. This kind of networking and maximizing existing resources and connecting each other is one of the key point of apply GIS. Let me skip some. Then this is the map my student made. Actually, there is no strict detailed land use map, so we did some survey and GIS calculation. Then just make the evidence of the quantitative evidence of for example, how much hectares you have actually traditional ume orchard, and another type of modern ume orchard cut fill large scale is this kind of proportion, something like that. So we can explain to the evaluators, even we have some modern large scale landform transformation, but still have some this kind of large area of traditional type of ume orchard. So the evaluator can accept our proposal. Also, I do some research on plant diversity and comparing this kind of modern agricultural area and also traditional agricultural area. And we could do some survey using some drone and other type of measurement systems. And we actually get some point cloud, and let me see, this is a species list we submitted. And also we actually prove that even that big scale modern type agricultural area could have some potential of the plant diversity. Of course, the traditional type of ume orchard have more and more diverse in the plant diversity, but even the big scale modern agriculture, some kind of somehow acceptable even in terms of agriculture biodiversity. Okay. this is Japanese example. Let me show you some African example. Just take just a picture base. Maybe just 5 minutes. Let me allow.
Yes, of course, on the timing. Just take your time. It's very, very interesting. So we want to hear everything.
Sorry.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. This is the African case. Let me see. You see now Mount Kilimanjaro here. I went there in 2000, maybe 17, just one of the advisor of GS. At
Sorry,
that
can you
time,
just reshare the picture because we could see
oh,
it, but then it
sorry.
disappeared
Let's
again.
see.
Sorry to interrupt.
Yeah, no, it's my coming. Can you see? Okay.
Yes, we can see now.
Which it is maybe in 2017. I was invited to as a just advisor to this Kilimanjaro GIS sites. At that time, FAO really wanted to expand their GIS area to Africa. So they tried to collect the high-class governmental official from the many of African countries, including the sub-Saharan countries, into the Arusha in Tanzania. Then we could have some field trips and also have some gave some lecture to such high class officials to push the future application of GIS. This is of course the Mount Kilimanjaro, then the local officials, and I really moved by the African landscape. Then this is the agroforestry system, which is recognized by GIS. You could see the coffee trees in the bottom layer, then banana is just middle layer. The upper layer is a canopy. It's just the acacia and the other type of local trees, which is quite sustainable way to prevent, for example, soil erosion and some kind another type of land degradation in this area. Yeah, this is the their GIS office in the this perhaps the altitude looks like less than 2000, but they have some hamlet here. Then, yeah, I really moved by African dance by local madams. Then we have a meeting with the yes local officials here in that the Tanzania, and this is Mount Kilimanjaro sites. Then this photo showing some other delegates from African countries. And then I taste a lot of coffee here. This is organic coffee. Too much coffee. Then after this night, I can't sleep at all. I can't refuse that coffee from the local people. I like coffee, but this tremendous amount makes me I can't sleep this night. Anyway, the central guy with orange shirts is just the owners of these farms. Then he's explaining in English about the characteristics of his agroforestry systems like this. Then after GIS recognition, of course, as I told you that GIS doesn't mean direct subsidies, but the local government after the GIS recognition, set up some kind of programs and subsidy programs as well. Then they could have some new infrastructure like new storage and the other type of agricultural equipments provided by the local government's side. So GIS is just their starting point to revitalize their organic coffee agroforestry system revitalizations. Let me show you one more site, just few minutes. Another site is much dry area, and then can you see? That's right. Yeah, this is a different side of Tanzania. It's big, dry lands, and then this is this GIS system is just they emphasize the coexisting with Maasai tribe people with their wild animals, and which looks like very rangeland ecosystems, which is maybe some similarities to the Trans-Sahara project area. Zebras here, and this is just a great rifted valley in Africa, which is very fantastic for me. We have maybe 5 or 6 hours drive from the Arusha hotel in Arusha to this project site, which is quite tough. This is their hamlet, Engelsel village, which is one of the core hamlets of this GIS system. You could see some newly installed farm, and also some buildings was developed after the GIS recognition. So if once they get some GIS recognition, they could easily emphasize their demands of revitalizing their area, because it was guaranteed by FAO, so it easily insists their importance to the local and national government. They could develop this kind of well, and this is also newly installed storage after the GIS recognition. They are very proud of this GIS recognition, and they have some new type of equipments like this guy. This is the battery by solar power system, and then they can have this kind of refrigerator newly installed after GIS recognition. And they can sell now their product of the goat milk or something like that. So GIS is just one of that milestone to revitalize their agricultural system, still along with keeping their traditions. They also make some coffee products. Then this is a rain tank as well. Then also they install septic tanks as well, or something like that. So this is the advantage of GIS recognition. The septic tanks. It's just jelly. Then also this site includes this kind of historic site. This is they said our first footprints of Homo sapiens. I don't know if this is really true or not, but they have some because of integration of this kind of their cultural and historical heritage into their GIS application. They can make a good story why they have to conserve this agricultural system. This is footprint of Homo sapiens I'm maybe true. And then the Maasai people have a lot of traditional dance and a lot of tradition in these kind of cultural uh, activities. So this kind of dance is actually demonstrated when the evaluator comes. And this is the approach for particularly that international travelers, particularly from Western countries. And then these sites have some conflict between the balance between the deer site and just another type of the wild natures. Indeed, local governments actually they want to keep some kind of the wild animal areas, which could attractive for the international tourists, like from particularly from Europe. So, however, that in that geosite, for my impression, that increase the population is really now increasing, and then the GS sites want to expand their just the territory, but which is having some conflict with the line of the so-called wilderness and the wild natures, which is regarded as the basement of the tourism by the national and local government. So, this is one of my new findings because in Asia we have not so rangeland wilderness landscape. So our landscape have quite have a long history with the agriculture. So okay, maybe this is the last one. Sorry, my time, I can't keep my time, but thank you for giving me these opportunities. Hopefully you could get some visual image of what is JAS and what is site in Japan and Africa. Maybe which is also Trans-Sahara project site could have some potential to apply gas. So maybe I could help something, hopefully in the future. Thank you.
Thank you very much indeed, Professor Hara, for giving us this really detailed and insightful presentation on this very pertinent topic to Trans-Sahara. I think your experience is really valuable to the project objectives. And we are delighted also that Professor Hara has agreed to join the Trans-Sahara Advisory Board. So we also have the time to continue this discussion in the next 2 years, which is just fantastic. And if everyone agrees, especially you, Professor Hara, I would like to take another 15 minutes or so that we have time for some question and answer session. Is that fine for you? If it's fine for everyone, we continue. So thank you very much for taking us through this UN FAO program, GIAS, which we are not very familiar, or at least it has not come up in our discussion so far. And looking at your map also, we can see that for sub-Saharan Africa, there are very few sites in the region. So thank you very much for bringing us this insight and for taking us through the different landscapes in Japan and how this GIAS project was, how the application process was made, what the different criteria are, and how you managed to collect the data and evidence in order to make the application, and also giving us the insights into the kind of effort that is needed to make this kind of application. So I think we will definitely be very interested in discussing further with you on how to do that. Also, it's very interesting for us to see the Japanese landscapes and the comparison of the modern and the traditional types, and also how you evaluated them, and also the finding that you had that the biodiversity in the modern type of landscape system is not necessarily bad compared to traditional system, can be good as well. And definitely biodiversity can be conserved there as well. And also giving us the insights into your African experiences. So I think that they are also it would be very nice for Trans-Sahara to try to connect to these GIAS sites to see how they were able to build on the GIAS certification in order to gain more visibility and maybe also some economic impacts that you described. So I would like to, and I have so many questions, but I just want to target one of the questions that I have on my list and then open it to the floor for more questions. And I think that the real crucial impact question for Trans-Sahara is the question of how to monetize, or let's call it monetary, how to make this monetary for the communities to inspire the uptake and to inspire participation in this landscape regeneration or landscape conservation, or what we want to call it. So one thing that you mentioned was that in Japan there's the subsidy for the farmers to directly pay the farmers to monitor the biodiversity and also to, in that case, guard the biodiversity. And then you also mentioned that in the GIAS certification, there's no direct monetary benefit, but the communities can make a benefit out of it. So I wanted to ask actually two things. How did the government in Japan find the right balance between the payment to the farmers for biodiversity and their economic gain, let's say? Because I suppose the farmer has a rice field, so they want to have the rice field like as big as possible to sell the rice. So if the subsidy is too high, maybe they will be planting less rice because they start planting other species. But if it's too low, of course, they will not have enough biodiversity. So what was the process to find the balance is the first question. And the second one is, if you could just give us a little bit more insights on how exactly these communities that had the GIAS certification managed to get economic benefit from it. So you mentioned the ecotourism, for example. Of course, that is a source of income, but to jump from this really rural community to having a solar plant with a battery and a refrigerator, that's quite a big step. So there must have been some other processes between. Please.
Yeah. First question. Yeah, of course, in everywhere we have some trade-off between the large rice fields cultivation between large scale and small scale. But for example, the third alliance I presented is normally that they have very small plots of looks like that terrace rice fields area with in very small scale. So they have a very originally they have disadvantage in terms of productivity of rice because of that kind of topography. So that's why they have some interest in GIS scheme because they have no choice to make some bigger and productive rice fields like other areas because they already have some limitation in capacity their capacity. So they are selected to the way to add some addition to have some additional value by that biodiversity. Yes. So and then this scheme I explain is just managed by the local government. This is ordinance based, so which is quite well functioning in such a supporting somehow such a small scale organic farming in terrace rice fields. Of course, if the government gave a much amount of subsidies, maybe it is also not good for the farmers itself. They just become the rely on subsidies, then they stop to endeavor by themselves. So this kind of balance is very important. And then government, we have some guidelines and experience. This how much subsidize is better to support their agricultural activities without a large-scale corruption of the local economy and local traditional agriculture. Yeah. And sorry, what's its second question? It's
Thank you very much.
about
how the communities that have received the certification can really build the economic benefit from that.
Yeah, actually, of course, there is not complete happy history, happy story in the rural area. Of course, they have some, we face still some conservative groups, and then they say even the GS recognition, our price of agriculture product is not changed. And then, agriculture itself is highly rely on climate, and sometimes they have some storms, and then the products is gone, then price is very fluctuated or something like that. And however, now we are still the stage to prevail this just scheme and the just advantage to the whole rural area in recognized site. Even for example, some farmers know very much about this GS merit advantage, but another one they don't know actually. So first one is what we trying to is just to prevail and then notify this scheme, what is GS and then what is advantage or something like that. Then also, actually, we tried to install some label of GIS. Then, if the GIS label, if the farmer can put the GIS label onto their agricultural products, which could have some higher price. However, this scheme is also some another agricultural cooperatives opposed to this scheme because they already have some kind of the label of indicating their own brands. So GIS itself is communities feel some merit and advantage of GIS, particularly that active farmers try to maximize this GIS recognition by themselves. But some other, of course, some conservative group is opposed still some. So we are still on our way. GIS recognition is just a starting point to maximize and utilize this recognition, geographical indication. So after that, after the recognition, we have to continue our efforts on maximizing that advantage of GIS to local people.
Okay, thank you very much for those explanations. So I don't want to monopolize the whole Q&A time, so I would like to invite our audience, if you have questions, to please pose them.
The microphones are turned on now, so you can just jump in.
Okay, so Ms. Buhachem and Dr. Khalil, do you have any questions for Professor Hara, please? You're welcome to just speak up and let us know. Or if you can't speak for the mic for whatever reason, you're also welcome to put questions in the chat. Do we have anything in the chat, Leah?
No, not that I can see. I actually have a question to follow up from you, Daphne, if you don't mind.
Yes, please. Fantastic. Do.
I was just struck by the map that you shared at the start of the slides. It says 57 regions in 21 countries, and Japan having 11 regions looks like it's the second highest, just overtaken by China. So I was just wondering, that's probably a very simple question, but like if there's like for such a comparatively small country, like do you think there's any reason on top of the government subsidies that Japan is particularly suited to gaining the certification?
Yeah, still we have some imbalance in terms of location of geosites along across the world. Because in Chinese government and as well as Japanese government and Korean government is very eager to promote this GIS scheme, which is somehow in the context of international politics as well. We have some problem between the countries in terms of international politics, but in GIS scheme, we can have the good collaboration because we do have some same type of agriculture, and also we have the same same direction to promote our rural agricultural systems. So that's why since 2002 that GIS scheme started, Chinese and Japanese government put a lot of perhaps the supports. Then head of this GIS project is maybe now Chinese official, but before that, that's Japanese official for a long time. And also some professor from Japan, like Professor Takeuchi, joined the advisory board. So honestly, this scheme somehow started from Asian region in terms of that international support. But also now that's why this kind of imbalance is becoming somehow problems. So FAO wants to expand GIS sites into Africa, particularly because they have a lot of good legacy and a lot of potentials. And I think so, Europe as well. But now, we have much site in Asia. So still, there is a lot of submission for application to GIS, but maybe FAO wants to select African site rather than the Asian site now. So particularly African, sub-Saharan Africa, like the TRANS-SAHARA project focused on areas is quite have high potential. And also, I talked with many delegates from African countries who are interested in GIS proposal application. One of the most obstacles of the application is they don't have good research institution nearby. So I think Trans-Sahara project, if you provide some scientific evidence and to support the community to apply this kind of geographical indication scheme, maybe it's quite helpful, and then local people is highly welcome you. I think, in Africa they really complain because our country have not not good research institutions that help this process. So I think this project could quite that you can create that win-win relationships.
Yeah, I mean, it's so interesting even just to disseminate the knowledge down to a local level, like we're talking complete supranational, and making sure it's definitely an opportunity for Trans-Sahara to make sure that the small farms are aware that this is an option. But yeah, thank you for answering my question.
Wonderful. Thank you very much indeed. I think we should wrap up now to not go too much over time, but I really want to thank you, Professor Hara, for giving us this very, very good inspiration for a key thing that Trans-Sahara can make a contribution to. And I would like to stay in close contact with you for the dialogue on how we can first assess how with the partners if anything like this has already been planned or done in the past, and then to see if they agree that Trans-Sahara can try to go for the certification. It looks like also in Germany there's a need for improvement, so I think maybe even as a transboundary EU-AU initiative, it could also be interesting to compare EU and AU regions on that topic.
Yeah, I'd have to agree. Definitely the same in Ireland. I was just looking at the GS website. There's nothing there, and I come from a place where there's a lot of agriculture, so it's surprising to me. But definitely, obviously, Africa is our focus, so we'll do our best to disseminate the knowledge. But yeah, thank you so much for joining us. So appreciate it. The recording will be up probably in the next day or two, and the next Trans-Sahara session will be announced very soon. So
yeah, thank you for inviting me. It's really nice to meet you, even online.
Yeah.
In someday we can meet, just
absolutely. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think we need a workshop about this GS topic.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Professor Hara. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you very much, Leah. And see you both very soon.
See you.
Bye.
Have a good rest of the day.
Cheers.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.